There's a difference between being alone and being lonely. You can be surrounded by people and still feel profoundly lonely. Or you can be completely alone and feel perfectly content. Today, we're exploring that difference through a series of questions that will help you understand what you're really experiencing. This isn't just about how much time you spend by yourself. It's about the quality of your connections, the depth of your relationships, and whether you feel truly seen by the people in your life. Let's find out. Are you alone or are you lonely? Let's start with the first question. When you're in a room full of people, do you feel more connected or more isolated? Think about the last time you were at a party, a gathering, or even just in a busy place. Did being around others make you feel energized? Or did it somehow make you feel even more alone? If you chose isolated, that's loneliness. Because loneliness isn't about the absence of people, it's about the absence of connection. You can be in a crowd and still feel like no one really sees you. Like you're watching life happen around you, but not participating in it. This feeling comes from not having relationships where you feel truly known, where you can be yourself without performing or pretending. Question 2. When something good happens to you, who do you want to tell first? Do you have someone who immediately comes to mind? Someone you are excited to share your news with? Or do you hesitate, unsure who would really care? Who would really celebrate with you? If you have someone you want to tell, that's a sign of connection. But if you can't think of anyone, if good news feels lonely because there's no one to share it with, that's profound loneliness. Some people experience this even when they have friends or family. They have people in their life, but no one they feel truly close to. No one who knows them deeply enough to understand why this particular thing matters. Question 3. Do you feel like you have to perform or edit yourself around the people in your life? Can you be fully yourself? Or do you constantly monitor what you say, how you act, what you share? If you can be authentic, if you can show up as you are without fear of judgment, that's real connection. But if you're always performing, always wearing a mask, always showing only the acceptable parts of yourself, you're lonely, even if you're never alone, because no one actually knows the real you. This kind of loneliness is exhausting. You're surrounded by people, but you're hiding. You're in relationships, but only to the version of yourself you've created for others to see. And the real you remains unseen, unheard, alone. Question 4. How often do you cancel plans because you just don't have the energy? Not because you're physically tired, but because the idea of being social feels exhausting. If you find yourself constantly canceling, that could be loneliness wearing you down. Here's the paradox. When you're lonely, socializing feels harder. You withdraw not because you want to be alone, but because loneliness has made you exhausted. You've been performing for so long that the thought of doing it again feels unbearable. But isolation often makes loneliness worse. When you withdraw from people, you're also withdrawing from potential connection. Now, if you cancel occasionally because you genuinely need time alone to recharge, that's healthy solitude. But if canceling has become your default, that's worth examining. Question 5. When you're struggling, do you reach out or withdraw? Think about the last time you had a bad day or felt overwhelmed. Did you tell anyone? Did you ask for support? Or did you handle it alone, not because you wanted to, but because reaching out felt impossible? If you withdraw when you're struggling, that's often loneliness masking itself as independence. You've convinced yourself you're fine alone, that you don't need people. But really, you're protecting yourself from the vulnerability of asking for help and potentially being let down. People who feel truly connected reach out when they're struggling. They trust that someone will be there. If you can't reach out, if your instinct is always to withdraw, you're likely experiencing loneliness. Question 6. Do you feel understood by at least one person in your life? Not just liked, not just appreciated, but truly understood. Does someone know your history, your fears, your dreams, the things that shaped you? Can you have conversations that go beyond surface level? If yes, you have real connection. You're not lonely, even if you spend a lot of time alone. But if no one really knows you, If all your relationships stay shallow, if you've never let anyone in that deep, you're carrying profound loneliness. Being truly known by someone is one of the most fundamental human needs. Without it, we feel invisible no matter how many people surround us. Question 6. Do you feel understood by at least one person in your life? Not just liked, not just appreciated, but truly understood. Does someone know your history, your fears, your dreams, the things that shaped you? Can you have conversations that go beyond surface level? If yes, you have real connection. You're not lonely, even if you spend a lot of time alone. But if no one really knows you, if all your relationships stay shallow, if you've never let anyone in that deep, you're carrying profound loneliness. Being truly known by someone is one of the most fundamental human needs. Without it, we feel invisible no matter how many people surround us. If you're lonely, what do you do about it? First, acknowledge it. Stop calling it independence or being fine on your own. Name it. I'm lonely. I'm craving connection. Second, examine your relationships. Are they serving you? Are they reciprocal? Do you have people who show up for you the way you show up for them? If not, it might be time to invest in different relationships, to seek out people who can meet you with the depth you're craving. Third, practice vulnerability. Start small. Share something real with someone safe. Let them see past the performance. You might be surprised by how they respond. Most people are also craving deeper connection. They're just waiting for someone else to go first. Remember that being alone and being lonely are not the same thing. You can cultivate a rich, full life with periods of solitude and periods of connection. The goal isn't to never be alone. It's to ensure that when you are alone, it's by choice, not because you feel you have no other option. Solitude can be healing, restorative, necessary. Loneliness is painful and isolating. Learn to recognize the difference in your own life. When you choose to be alone and it feels good, that's solitude. When you're alone and it feels like no one would care if you reached out, that's loneliness. Loneliness is one of the most difficult human experiences, but it's also changeable. Connection is possible. Being truly known is possible. You don't have to carry this feeling forever. Start by being honest with yourself about what you're experiencing, then take one small step toward connection. Reach out to someone. Share something real. Let yourself be seen. You deserve relationships where you don't have to perform, where you can be fully yourself, where you're not just in the room but truly present and connected. That's the difference between being alone and being lonely. And you have the power to create more of one and less of the other.